Hello and welcome back to Alex Goes Sailing. We've got Daniel, crew, I'm ready to go, and we're going to start this race off. Starts at 9:30, it's about 8ish now. We might stop and get a little bit of fuel, but yeah, we're good to go. Apart from that, we've cleaned up the boat, done a rig check, got rid of the anchor, checked everything else, packed away the inside of the boat, so it's absolutely clean and tidy in there. Head down to Cows, fuel maybe, and then out to the race weight area. And yeah. We've also got to set up the plotter to start the race, so I've got to figure out how to do that again. It's been a while since I've used it. We had a nice night at Island Harbour. The nice chap up in the tower said we can stay here for the night when we came to have our meal at the Breeze, and the Breeze was lovely. Daniel had a burger, I had fish and chips, and the brownie was decent too. So yeah, let's get cracking. Right, we're down out past Cows now. That ferry is taking no prisoners over there, and a lot of boats. Apparently there's 1,117 boats taking part this year, so a decent amount. Loads of small boats, so that's keeping me confident for the Needles. If they're going out, I'm going out. Looking pretty good. I got my plotter set up. I just turned on the race from last year, exactly the same, and I've got my race line as well, so it should be nice and easy. We've got 20 minutes before I start, so we'll turn up into wind. We're going to set a reefed mainsail, and then we can play around with the head sail. But just by looking around at everyone else, they're going reefed, and yeah, I don't blame them. At the minute we've got 15 knots, but we're meant to have up to 25 knots up at the Needles especially. Right, we've set our main. We've got it pretty much reefed down. We've got, I don't know, almost 20 knots of wind just now. And when we get around there, it's going to pick up a little. So we're going to do most of the work with the head sail, which is what it does best. And yeah, we've got about, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes before the start. I've got my timer ready to go. I'll hit that going. And hopefully we hit the line pretty close. Right, we're about to make our first tack. It won't be on camera because it's a bit windy. But it was a good start. We're about on time for the line. Oh, whoa! Oh, look at that. She's taking a beating. How's the race going so far, Daniel?
Very wet.
Whoa!
And windy.
And windy. Keep her pointing in the right direction. Decent amount of waves, and we're not even at the Needles yet.
Been watching boats tip over on their side.
Yeah, loads of boats tipping right over. It's quite gusty. We've got just the right amount of reefing for both sails, 4 turns each, and she's doing well. We can control her quite easily. She's not overheeling, and we're doing our max speed, so we're doing pretty well. We threw in a tack to get back to this side of the channel, and hopefully we might be able to try and pinch it all the way to Needles after doing this. So fingers crossed, maybe one more tack, who knows. Right, we've rounded the Needles. We cut it pretty close, but still behind the shipwreck because, well, the wind's blowing pretty hard and the waves were getting absolutely massive. This is tame compared to what we were jumping through earlier. So, yeah, we're on a run line at the minute. We're going to try and angle into shore to catch a bit of extra current because it picks up faster inside, closer to shore, than it does outside. So we can gain a little bit by doing that. But we will be careful because you don't want to throw in another tack by the time we get up to St. Catherine's Point. This is apparently 1.3 metre seas, maybe 1.4 metre seas. The Isles of Scilly trip was 1.8 and that was pretty rough. These are a bit more spaced apart, which are quite nice. The ones to the Scillies were very close together, which wasn't pleasant, and we were going upwind quite a lot. So yeah, this is a pretty good day at the minute. I think it's time to have a couple of snacks, maybe in 10 minutes when it gets a little calmer. Yeah, feeling peckish. Right, we've just rounded St. Catherine's Lighthouse and yeah, we're making some good speed. We're doing 4.5 to 5 knots at the minute and the current should start going with us any time now, which would be nice. We've managed to overtake quite a few boats in this last little leg. We've got like, I don't know, must be like 12, 13 boats behind us. So yeah, I think it's time for some lunch. So ham sandwiches, frubes, and maybe an apple. Right, we've got a little bit of rain. A little squall's just passing over. The sun pops out every now and again, but maybe 10 minutes it'll be back to normal. So hopefully I don't get too wet. Luckily it's blowing on my back, so my legs are staying nice and dry. Lovely. We're just passing Bednar, which is literally just there, and yeah, not doing too bad. It's not about 4:30 at the minute, so we're just coming up the eastern side of the island. That there is Bembridge. So we've just got around the Bembridge ledge mark. They got a little committee boat there, keeping an eye on everyone. Looks like that guy's giving in for the day. But still, these two boats rounded with us over there, they're kind of going more against the wind, so they've been going a little faster. But we've gone more of a run line. So it'd be interesting to see when they turn, if we end up exactly the same, or ahead of them, or behind them. That boat there's got a spinnaker up, the first boat I've seen with a spinnaker up this whole downwind leg. But yeah, we've been doing pretty good actually. So we're just round this mark, and then it's just the final beat all the way up back to Cowes, and hopefully we can go in the shallows because we'll have the tide going against us. Daniel's on the tiller, doing downwind duties. How are you finding it?
It's fine.
Bit rolly?
It's very rocky, but not an issue.
Rocky? I hope there's no rocks around here. Right, there's the mark just there. We've come out pretty much side by side with this guy, but he's going a lot further down than we are. We're pointing a lot higher up, going along this shallow bank it looks like. Wind's back, we're basically on a perfect beam, just following our mark all the way back to the line. We are just passing Bembridge, which we've anchored at before. We've got a little exclusion zone over there where all those boats are parked up. So we're just following the line. The wind has gone a little bit from behind us now, and it did drop off for quite a while, but it's finally picked back up, and we've got 13 knots of wind now. So hopefully it picks up a little more, and then once we get to this point just up here, we can turn up to Cowes and get a little bit more apparent wind on us. So hopefully we can get there in decent time. I think we might be a little after when we finished last time, but a lot of boats have given up. There's one behind me, a 27-foot boat that gave up. Right, we're up into the shallows now. We've got 2 meters beneath the keel. We are probably going to come across the proper bank, which is right ahead of us. You can see the pier, and you can kind of see Cowes, the headland in the distance. That's where we're aiming for. The wind is still about 11 knots. Pretty boring at the moment. Need a bit more wind to make it a bit more exciting, you know. Right, the wind's finally filled in. We've got a lean on. I'm gonna have to trim the sail so I can actually steer the boat. A bit heeled over there. I want to go further into the shallows. We're at 2.5 meters depth. We are basically on a bank coming up 2 meters, 1.7, 1.5, 1.4. So yeah, 1.5. So that's that bank dealt with. Now we've got the massive one that's in front of this pier, and we'll be up there in a jiffy if we're doing 4.7, almost 5 knots now. So before we were doing 3. Right, the wind's actually switched round a little bit of its direction. We're still in the shallows, just about to come off the final bank. 0.8 beneath my keel, or 0.7 rather. We're going over a little lump. I was trying to go around the lump, but we're kind of going over the edge of the lump. 0.6. 0.6. I think we might be alright. 0.4. We might not be alright. 0.5. 0.4. Playing with me this. 0.3. Oh. 0.3 beneath the keel. Looks like my calculations were correct. We've made it, I think. Whoa, here's a bit of a wind. Sailing into the sunset. 0.3 beneath the keel. And we're heeled over, so my keel's a little bit lower. We might start scraping in a minute. 0.3, 0.4, 0.3. Totally not sketchy at all. There's the pier at Ryde. And yeah, 0.4, and we're about to come off the bank. So yeah, should be good. 0.5, 0.6. I think we're safe now, but look at this. Sailing into the sunset. Does it get any better than this? Close hauled. We should make it all the way back to Cowes now. Right, would you just look at this sailing? It's beautiful. Trim that up a little bit more. We're doing about 5 knots. There's Wootton Creek, or Fishbourne as they like to say. Osborne Bay is just there. Tip of Cowes just there. We've overtaken all of these boats across here now. Maybe those 2 over there, depends. Since we've got the high line, they've got to do at least a tack to get up to the finishing line because they won't be able to pinch it from there. It's pretty good that we came up this way and we've stayed out of the current, which is good. Right, the finish line is just there. You can see that boat is our finish line to the left of it. We're trying to get this guy. This guy's trying to catch us. The wind is now being fluky, so who knows? But the sunset's nice. Hopefully we can try and pip this guy. He might have to tack if he's not lucky. But yeah, hopefully we can do something here. Right, we're coming across the line now. And well, I'm gonna hold the end of this banner in a second. Can I read what's on the clock? No, I can't. Let's go a little closer. Ho, ho, ho. Put it down a little bit. Ho, ho, ho. 2031. 2031. 2031. Just finished the race. Would you look at that? 2031 we had. Right, so that's the Round the Island race all done for this year. We're just heading to Osborne, drop anchor and have some spaghetti bolognese for dinner, which should be quite nice, and then we'll head back to Hayling tomorrow. Should be quite a nice sail down. But yeah, it was a good race. I probably wouldn't change anything that I did. Pretty much run lines most of the way round and just trying to deal with the wind and waves. It did drop off at the down at Benbridge, but what can you do really? But yeah, I'll have to check on the results when we get to the anchorage.
Now with that over, it's time for the results. We spent a total of 11 hours on the water, but our corrected time with the handicap was 9 hours, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We finished 385th overall, and that's out of about 900 boats that actually finished. Overall, it's a pretty good result, but not as good as last year, mostly due to the wind that dropped off towards the end of this race. But it was great fun, and it was a great day out on the water.
It's the morning after the race, and we're just heading back to Wilson's Boat Yard in Hayling, and we're leaving the anchorage at Osborne Bay. We've got 20 knots, 25 knots of wind, so it's pretty sporty. It's slack tide now, but it will start to go against us, so we should make a little bit of time while it's windy like this, even against the current. Right, we're just coming into Hayling Island now. We've got wind against tide, not much because it's just switching. That rib absolutely got soaked over there, but yeah, the waves aren't too bad. We've been in worse than this, so yeah, just on the main. Should really have the head sail out, but we'll get into the harbour, drop the outboard in, and then drop the main and head over to Wilson's. Right, we've made it into Wilson's boatyard and the tide is dropping, so I've got to get a wriggle on so we can get this boat off because it's quite low compared to last time, and I want to get my car quick. Right, if you can see that, I'm not going to touch it because that's metal, but this is how I found the trailer when I came back. Maybe it got hot in the sun and blew up or something, but yeah, but luckily I have a spare with me, otherwise this would be quite the tricky situation. Probably still work, but a bit sketchy. So just breaking the nuts off loose. Right, we're all loaded up. Meraka's done, master's down, fairly easy. Took our time with it. We almost didn't get the boat on with the tide, as you saw. It was going out, and we had to go really far up at the end of the winch line. So we should have woken up an hour earlier. But anyway, we got her on, she's loaded up, and that's it. That was a little over a week's worth of sailing for me, all the way down to Lulworth Cove back, and did the round the island race with my brother. And yeah, so I'll see you guys on the next adventure, whenever that is.
You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night. We bring the vibes here.